What's going on, everybody? I'm Jordan Wheeler with RTR Vehicles, and in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the 05 to 14 Mustang S197 Coilovers. All right, as you guys can see, I am not alone in the studio. Today, I have with me Mr. Vaughn Gittin Jr. He is founder and president of RTR Vehicles, as well as multi-time drift champion, Ultra 4 champion. Thanks for joining us, Vaughn.
We've done things.
Yeah, we've done some things, yeah.
I'm pumped to be here. Thanks for bringing me in, because I always love talking about our products, especially the ones that I've had an actual hand in defining the goals and developing the performance for them.
Absolutely, and you can see your fingerprints all over this part here. We have a monotube design, nitrogen filled. It has linear dampening on it. Vaughn, with this, what is it that you brought from your time behind the wheel of a Mustang to this part?
Yeah, so whenever we're developing our suspension systems, like we have a specific tactical initiative, if you will, to stand behind, what RTR means and make it ready to rock. Meaning, for me, it's a mindset and it's approach like ready for anything. And so all of our complete suspension systems are built to work together or by themselves. And so, these work great with our sway bars, they work great without our sway bars. And there's a million coilover systems out there for Mustangs. The difference of ours is that I would argue that these have the greatest ride quality on the street with extremely significant capabilities on the track. And so what we did with these S197 setup is that we focused on the problem areas. To achieve a great ride quality, we used a progressive spring. We also maintained the production top hat. They're able to just basically buy the setup and bolt it on.
Oh, that's nice.
Then the damping inside of the shock allows us to control what we're trying to achieve, whether we want that nice ride or we've got some more sticky tires or we want to slow down body roll on a track day. We also focused on the lack of travel that traditional S197 coilovers have. So the way that we achieve that is obviously by the stroke of our shock, but also removing the bump stops on the axle and putting the bump stops on the actual shock.
Oh wow, that's nice.
A lot of people don't realize it when they're driving their S197s that before they get full travel on the rear axle, they're actually touching the bump stop. Oh, wow. So we're able to get more travel by moving the bump stops out on the axle, get a little bit more travel, more shock stroke, more control.
Nice.
Moving on to the rear, obviously a progressive spring in the back. You've got a ride height adjustment at the bucket, just like these have two different ways to do ride height, right? The shock body adjust, so that way you don't have to put preload in your springs. Get the low ride height that you want while maintaining the ride quality. Now, one thing I will tell people is that S197s, from someone going for performance, S197s don't like to be dumped. It's all about maintaining the shock stroke and hitting the bump stops as late as possible. And obviously you want to get a little bit lower to lower that center of gravity, but for people out looking for performance, you can go too low. And so these adjusters is a very linear adjustment, and we've tested them from street tires to very aggressive track tires. So obviously as you get a more aggressive tire on the car, you want to go stiffer on the damping because the tire grips more, which allows more body roll, so you want to control that more. So that's when you would run, the stiffer damping. The other reason to run the stiffer damping is for the guys that are just pushing the limits of lowering a vehicle to stop rubbing. It slows, as you stiffen the damping, it slows the shock's movement.
All right, well, you can definitely tell a lot of thought, a lot of heart, a lot of passion went into the development of these. So how will the customer know when to progress from their stock setup to the RTR Tactical Performance shocks and dampeners and ultimately to the coilovers?
So we've got the gamut for everybody, and I did that because I was that guy. I was at a point, I could only buy springs when I first built my car. Then I was able to upgrade to to dampers. We've got just our springs that were designed to work well with production shocks. right? That lowers the car, a little lower center of gravity, makes it feel a little bit stiffer, an increase in performance. Gets you that stance, gets the car feeling a little bit more, sporty, if you will. And then you can add our sway bars to that. Our sway bars complement just the springs on the factory dampers. And that will allow you to change, your balance pretty aggressively by using the 3 adjustments on the front and the rear of the bar to achieve that understeer, neutral, or oversteer balance. Now, for the guy that likes that stance and doesn't need to go any lower and is, mainly driving on the street, but maybe wants to touch the track, we also have our adjustable dampers. They're not ride height adjustable, but they do have, adjustment for the damping. Now, to move up to the coilovers, which is effectively ultimate, it still has the same sweep in it, like the same adjustment capability as our standard dampers, but it goes further. So for the guy or girl that's going to go to the track and run super sticky tires and really wants to control that, these are the move. I'm really proud of our suspension setup. It transforms the car significantly, and everybody that's ever gotten them, is just really blown away. In fact, I think that we kind of understate them a little bit because they are a really, really great upgrade for performance and handling.
Awesome. Well, you can't argue with that championship knowledge right there and that championship mentality. And with 30 clicks of adjustability, ride height adjustments, this is a great setup for, like you said, that person that wants that little bit extra out of the street, out on the track. This is great. Now with this, as Vaughn said, you can reuse your stock top hats for this. Overall install time takes about 5 hours. I know when I did this was one of the easier installs that I had ever had on a Mustang before. Great look, packaging looks amazing as always with everything RTR. If you guys want to check this out, head over to rtrvehicles.com where you can check this out along with a whole list of other suspension parts that Vaughn mentioned here in the Mustang page. Also, make sure while you're cruising around that you hit up the Instagram and the Facebook. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss anything else from myself and the team here at RTR. And maybe we can get Vaughn to pop in a few more times for us.
Thank you, guys.